Okay. Okay. So where are we? We're somewhere in the middle, and let's go for, oh gosh, right, okay, so teaser. Why? I'm still not, I've kind of gone into it quite a bit actually, but I'm just going to have to pull this out and do this a lot better. Right, how innovative is eco squared? Based on what I've just said so far, how innovative is eco squared? Or Sqale? Okay, the actual tool. Eco squared is like the economic, this vector thing, the social contract, and Sqale, the actual app. Well, it's employing this, so it's pretty innovative. So there's a couple of ways of describing it. It's not very complicated. It's not very complicated. It's not that. It's this. Okay, it's very simple. It just appears counterintuitive because this is what everybody compares it to. So even after this, when I describe this, after a little while, in a week, something, and you're trying to explain it to another person, you'll start getting confused because they'll ask you questions to try and explain it in those terms, and you'll get into a pickle. So the only way you can explain it is by doing more of this and explaining this. But to explain this whole system requires, a little bit of practice. And that's why, I as the creator have found it hideous, trying to engage people in this, especially because they want me to explain it in their terms. It just doesn't work. And so what happens is that people get it, once I explain it, even very quickly. I've taken a while for this one, just because we've given ourselves the time. But within a very short period of time, I say this, say a couple of things, they go, it's just this, money, credits, fine, right? And they kind of get it, and they're like, wow, okay, that's quite interesting, I've never heard of anything like that. And you kind of give them the viral distribution, which we haven't actually covered yet, and they go, wow, that's amazing, all right? And even at the end of that, they're just like, wow, this is really amazing. And then, a week later, they may try and explain it to somebody, and then they can't quite hold it in their head, they can't quite explain it, and then they can't understand where the money is, or where it's going, and then basically the rest of the world and this and working and jobs and paying for things on a continuous basis means that funny little description that I came up with is just that, a funny little description, as opposed to a completely monumental, earth-shattering change of economic system. Okay, so there are funny little kind of holes that we have to try and avoid. That's why I'm taking the time here, and as you can tell, I'm not getting stressed out about the fact that I'm meandering. It's because, at some point or other, hopefully the dots are going to be connected. But it does appear counterintuitive. But remember, beneath that counterintuition, because that intuition you've got is based on the fact you're denatured. Remember, kids, you were kids. And at some point, you lived in a gift-giving economy. You were born, you got clothed, you were given food, you were given a place to live, you were given a place to grow up, you were, toys, all these things were given to us. All right, beautiful, beautiful. And then at some point or other, we went to a shop. Do I actually have any cash on me? I don't have any cash. All right, you went to a shop, and there was a shopkeeper, and you kind of went to them, and they kind of like, oh, okay, you got the sweet that you wanted. That's what you wanted. And so you got the money from your parents, and you kind of learned how to do this thing. You're a bit like, well, I don't care. I just want the sweet, or I want to watch the games, or I want to play, or whatever it is that you're interested in. We're interested in things, and the things that we value. And the money in the opposite direction is like this funny little contract is something which confuses kids, and it's confused every other culture and society, even us, and that's why it took a while for us to invent this thing, for us to understand how it works. Just literally the pairing of it, let alone the entire economy. Okay, we've got economic departments, all right, thousands of people, millions of people have studied this thing, and we still don't know, because of that thing with at night. Because at the base of the economic problem is the economic process itself. Oh look, we've got a solution. Okay. So all the problems and all the complications and all the intuition that people have and all the knowledge that people have is all like, okay, yeah, whatever. All right. So we're underlying that. We're undermining that. Okay, to something which is natural to us as children that we actually each one of us have grown up in. Our parents giving us stuff, and somehow we phase into, okay, let's take part in this money exchange thing, and it's very seductive because the money. Oh, kids suddenly get a bit of money. They go out, they sell themselves, get a job, right? Because it's very exciting. It's very exciting to have a job and interacting with people. That's the thing that's valuable. The thing that's valuable is the interacting with people, and it's really exciting and doing things, contributing and taking part in things. Oh, I'm getting money. Oh, and I get to buy stuff, and it's great. Da, da, da. And then after a little while, it gets a little bit wearisome. And then after a little while, it's a bit like, okay, I have to go and do this thing, even though I don't want to, because of the structure, because of the capital, because of all these problems. Okay, so and people get locked in, even though they're doing vocational jobs like nurses or teachers, and they end up getting locked in and having to go in and doing things that they don't really want to do. They don't have the emotion. They may be slightly burnt out, or maybe completely burnt out, and they're still doing it because they don't have any other options. Or there are people within companies that are stuck in those companies, having to do things even though they don't really want to. It's a nightmare, yeah? So, we all grew up in, that's the name. We all grew up in a gift economic. All societies operating gift economies, they just lacked numbers. Every society in the world obviously works and has some form of economy. It's just that they didn't quite operate without it. They didn't have a number system for it. And that's what we have. Right. We have this number system. What is that number system? Well, we're going to hijack money because that's actually what we're going to use, and we're going to treat it as a vector. So we're going to talk about it now. Are we going to talk about it now? Or are we still just talking about it rather than actually... here's more descriptions. Just have a look at these before we actually dive in. Oh no, let's check that. Okay, let's check that at the end. So I think we've got most of the pieces there. So the basic piece is this. Money as a vector. Let's have a look at that. SQ, I think I've just about explained it enough. I don't think we have to do more of that. We can leave that to another time. Vector, right. So how does this work? Okay, one person, another person. Okay, this person gives that person. I'm going to let's just stick to one. Yeah, okay, let's just stick to one. And I'm actually going to use money, okay, because you'll think credits. Okay, let's go for 100. Okay, 100 credits. Okay, which is £1. 100 credits, £1. It's the same. So one-to-one relationship. It's the same. That person's going to give that person £1. Why? Well, actually, that's not what their primary intention is. The primary intention is to give something. Okay, that's actually the primary intention. Let's do it with the card. The actual thing of value is what's being shared. Okay, so what's the thing? And it's, I don't know, video. Let's say, okay, not to get too meta, this video. Okay, so I'm giving this to somebody, and I give them £1, 100 credits. Fine. And then that person then went, right, this is pretty good. I'm going to share it forwards. Okay, why? Because there is no way, there's no advertising and marketing in this system. So if you think that this video is any good, then it's your responsibility. Okay, and that's what the person's giving you. They're saying, I think this is really good, but here's this number, pound, but it's your responsibility now to make it kind of like, share it. All right? Otherwise, nobody else is going to see this. The buck stops with you. Okay, or you're going to use it. And in fact, even in our current economy, we know that if you just kind of like put all your money in a mattress under the mattress, it's not doing anything, it doesn't serve anybody any purpose, it's not that useful. But if it's used in, you go buy some currency and so on and so forth, and then other people give you money and then you pass it out, that currency, that movement is the function of money. It's the movement of it. And for some reason, well, because of the way that we developed money early, the technology was coins. Okay, so it was a thing. So we moved these coins around. But that doesn't track. And if you look at your money, £20 note, okay, used to be equal to £20. Okay, literally pounds of silver, i.e. sterling. £20 note was a promissory note. It was originally £20 of surplus value. But the problem is now, when you look at your £20 note, one, you won't be able to get your £20 at the bank. Unlucky. But, you know, it still works. You know, we use it and it's great. However, the problem is it doesn't show where it's been and where it's going. Okay, that's the problem that Knight came up with. Okay, it's just an amount. There is no direction to it. And if in science, if you have any fluid system, okay, liquids, water, gases, air, any fluid systems, sheep flocking, any fluid systems, any moving systems, particles, physics, anything, right? They use, guess what they use? Yeah. Particle, moving, vector. Now, vector has simply got two things. One, direction, that's the arrow. And the other thing is an amount, or the magnitude. A magnitude. Okay, so that's the 20. Okay, so that 20 is represented by a magnitude of 20, but there's no direction to it, so we don't actually know where it's going. So it's just a quantitative thing. And if it's just a magnitude, it's just an amount. You know, 20. 20 pounds. 20, you know, an amount of something. Okay? An amount. Because it doesn't have direction. It does actually. Okay, sorry, little aside. It does have a little direction. Alright, it's got that. Okay, it's got a little pound sign. Okay? British pound. British sterling. And it basically indicates that if you take this note to that place, then you'll get the sterling. So there's a little mark, there is a little indicator that if you go to this location, so there is actually, okay, well there used to be at least, this number was associated with that symbol, which is referred to at some point or other, the silver. Okay, but you had to go to an organisation to get it, the bank. Okay. And so that's different from, for example, dollar. And so you have to go to a certain place to be able to get the, actually dollars, gold. You get the gold, okay? Okay, or yen, or whatever it is. And so that you have the different denominations. And so the different denominations is kind of like an aspect of direction. You know, if you say dollars, that's kind of pointing toward the US. If you're saying yen, it's, you know, Japanese, and, you know, euros, Europe. So it has a direction, but it's not particularly precise, let's say. Okay, it's a very general vector. All of our money is going in the same direction. It's almost like all of our money is going in the pound direction or the dollar direction. Okay, it doesn't actually give us much quality about, you know, in this place. I go to Bamford, I buy some. Actually, I never buy anything in Bamford. If I go to Sheffield, I don't. I don't buy anything in any place now, all right? And I give them some money, and, you know, where does that money go? Okay, so if I go to the chip shop, which I do sometimes, and I buy, where does that money go? Literally, where does that money go? And they don't, you know, it's not tracked. It is with blockchain. Blockchain is interesting, but I think we'll leave that maybe for another time. Blockchain is this economy into the virtual world. Okay, so the reason, the pounds, that's related to a government, okay, and a country. Blockchain, like for example, Bitcoin is created by miners digitally in a dispersed method, and so it's created by, it doesn't have this kind of direction. Okay, it's got a digital one. Or in fact, Facebook's coming up with its Libra next year, 2021. Okay, but it's all going to be this, an exchange and so on and so forth. Whereas, very interesting. And so blockchain does actually possess the power to enable the alternative economic. Okay, and we will at some point or other be using blockchain-like tech for a distributed system. But it's still failing. The idea of creating a coin, the equivalent of a coin, a secure thing on the internet. That's the closest to a thing that we've got on the internet. Okay. Website, no, it's data all over the shop, all right? That's a thing. That's as close to a number as a thing that is secure on the internet, which is kind of interesting. And the whole point about smart contracts again can simulate, can code, can tabulate, legalize, conform the social contracts that we're suggesting here with money as a vector. Okay, it is possible, but it's not going in that direction. And that entire, the whole blockchain thing is basically getting caught up in that thing. It had the chance. I spoke to people over the last, I don't know, 5-6 years, and nobody understood what I was doing, and so it's just gone off in this direction. So this tech, like every other tech that's happened in the past, the information age, the HTTP, before that, the whole science revolution, the industrial revolution, people were inspired by thinking they're going to change the world, and I'll just get sucked into this. Why? Because it is 3,000 years old. This tech is phenomenal, and we're all doing it. It's pervasive, so it's impossible almost to escape. And here we go. We're going to give it a go, ladies and gentlemen. I think this video is good. Here's 100 credit, here's a pound. Wow, I think this video is good too. I'm going to pass that forward. This is the second social fact. The first one is you value it and the concurrency. That's very important. And that's where all the values are. And that's within our minds and our hearts. And because you're doing it, I'm doing it, everybody's doing that, and we're correlating to that. That's the first social fact. Check out the first social fact in terms of reflexive reading. I think that's really good. I'm going to pass on a pound. Okay, great. Pass on 100 credits. And I'm going to pass on the video. The actual video passing that's actually an illusion. The actual video is actually coming from a server somewhere. Ding, ding, ding. Okay, and that's digitally created. We're just dealing with digital stuff just now. Okay, so that's why copyright in this system has had a major problem, because the whole Napster thing, the whole MP3 things, and swapping and sharing files, and then it was Apple that came up with the Apple Store, iTunes, and it managed to make this contract with a few companies, and then it produced all these MP3s in a legal way so people could buy them. But the point is that I'll put in this letters, digital, and then digital come down. Oh, and my computer translates it into, it's sound. Okay, this video, for example, is an example where it's just been digitized. It's been all over the place. Servers. It's saved on some servers, it's bounced around the universe, and it's got in front of you right now. Okay. Similarly, when you share it, boom, you get it. Right, fine. So we're going to kind of ignore that just now. I think we should be paying for that. Okay, but the way that they're mostly paying for that is adverts. Okay, something about the money exchange somehow eventually pays for that, but it's a nightmare. And the amount of adverts, like I'm bored even talking about adverts. Oh yeah, right. Okay, let's add that. Right, adverts. Bloody hell. Do we like them? Only if they're good and they're relevant. And I say most of them are not. So, and I'm just bored. I'm just bored. I'm watching something. I'm not interested in something. It's distracting me, and it's causing massive disruption to our psychology, socially, everybody. I'm just not interested in adverts anymore, right? Boom. How do we get rid of it? We do this method. So let's forget about the actual movement, but there is a movement of a thing. Apparently, there's a movement of a thing, okay? To another person. Right, great. And this person accepts it. Great, okay. This person says, right, well, if you do that, and this person gives it to another person, okay, great, okay, that's good. You get another copy of this thing. They get the video. Right, great, fantastic, linear. How long is it going to take us to hit 1 million people? Oh, forever. And it's £1. It's the same pound. It's going to take us a long time. If this is like if we do this in 5 minutes, how many 1 million? I can't even calculate it. It's like days, maybe. Okay, weeks. Right? I don't know. It's like it's going to take forever, right? If it was per day, million, it's 1 million days. 1 million days, it's 1,000 years. Okay, it's too long. So we have the solution for this. Let's make use of this money. This person thinks, yes, that's actually really good. I passed on the pound. I haven't spent any money. Okay, this person's passed on. Fine. But in order for it to get viral, okay, in order for it to actually get out there and distribute at a faster rate than just linear, I'm going to give it to a second person. But to do that, I've actually got to say, is it worth £1 of my own? Right. Yes. Let's see. Ah, great. Another copy of the video goes down, right? Forget about doing the, you get the idea, right? And this person goes, oh, okay, yeah, I think that's pretty good. I'm going to give it £1. And I'm going to add £1. Okay. And that person also gives £1, add £1. That person, £1, adds £1, plus £1. Okay. This person, £1, and then adds £1. Okay, so they've added £1, added £1. Okay, so 1 is just the previous person's, and then we add. So each person's only adding. This is a simple version, yeah. Each person's only adding £1. Okay, and in our traditional method, you give this person, they go, oh, thank you very much. Here's the £1. That would be. And then this person actually. No, let's go for this person. Gives this thing. This person gives £1. Oh Christ! I have to go and advertise. Oh, this person, right? Give me £1. Right? I have to advertise. Oh, that person has to come here, has to see the advert. Oh, there. Oh, shit. So with this system, you end up with one person, lots of people, lots and lots and lots and lots of people, but adverts. Okay, adverts. Colors are wrong. In order. I should put it red. Oh, yeah. That's what we should do. Put that in red. Okay. This is, they have to interfere. They have to spend money on adverts. Okay. And the problem with that is that it's a waste of money, a waste of time, waste of energy, just waste. Okay. However artistic they might be, that's like, getting a poop and kind of turning it to art, which is kind of good. And you can kind of shape it, and you can kind of put it in formaldehyde and so on and so forth, and you can turn it into art, and you can make it beautiful, you can make it aesthetic, you can make it, thought-worthy. But quite frankly, it's not the thing that I'm actually interested in. The video is the thing, the music is the thing, the creator is the thing, not the money. All right. So all these adverts, it's like, however artistic it might be, and they're almost like springboards for people to produce films. All right, like the guy who produced Aliens and so on and so forth. All right, great. Okay, so it's a good place to practice. But quite frankly, can we come up with other ways? Yes, this way. Okay, so if the money does not go backwards, so if the money does not, so with adverts, the adding of the money goes backwards. Okay, it goes backwards. Okay, so that means that adverts, because of the exchange thing, you have to put out adverts, you have to spend money on the adverts. Whereas this is all happening in the one single step. I think this is good. What do you think? And here's the money. Simple. Now, you think, if it was $1 million, to get to $1 million, it's 1,000,000 steps forever. How do we get 1,000,000 if each person is sharing to 2 people each? How long is it going to take? 5 minutes each step. Or, it's going to take forever. No, 10 steps. Total of 10 steps. So, if it was done in every 5 minutes, no, 20 steps. To get up to 1,000,000, it's 20 steps. Okay, so if it was every 5 minutes, that would be 2 hours. So if you shared this forwards, in 5 minutes, in 2 hours. If you shared it forwards today, okay, it's 2 people, and they accepted it, and they watched it on the day. So you've received this today, and you're watching it today, and you decide to share it, and the next 2 people share it, see it, and share it tomorrow. That would be 20 days. Less than a month, we have 1,000,000. 1,000,000. Okay, that's this video. Okay. 20 steps, that's 20 days. Okay, and that's £1 per day. Just one person, each person, just £1. Anything, any digital content, music, videos, games, articles, academic articles, absolutely anything. Beggars belief. Now, it's quite difficult for me to have come up with this. It took me years to stabilize this mentally. I mean, it is a tricky thing to get your head around, all right? That thing and credits. I mean, years, you're going, hard, but like trying to think about it. No, it's like a fish. It's like woof, it's gone. Woof, woof. No, that's like more like a dog. Okay, but you're kind of fishing. You're kind of putting your hands in the water. You're like waiting. Oh, here's the fish. Here's the fish. I think it's the fish. Whoop. No, nothing. It's gone. Okay, and I do that for about 2 years because it's such a slippery concept. Because we keep on everything collapses back to this, including the way we think about ourselves, everybody talking about it. We think that we're homo economicus, how capital works, our entire experiences, our daily practices, and everything. Right? Look at this. Wow, that is beautiful. Now, the question is though, all the money's going outwards, each person's only ending up with £1. At the end of it, we don't have 1 million as capital. We've got 1 million as 1 million people, each with their pound, and each with a copy of the video going, oh, this is pretty good. Fantastic. I don't think I'm going to get 1 million people watching this, but it's up to you. Okay, well, it's not up to you to get 1 million people, it's only up to you to share it with 2 people. But we'll do shorter things to be able to enable that. But if you're watching this for whatever reason, then share it forwards with who you think might actually be interested. It's earth-changing stuff, this. Okay, so that's fine. That's the distribution, but it's 1 million distributed. Okay, it's 1 million copies of whatever it is in people's. In fact, it's 2 million actually in terms of maths, but let's not split hairs. How is that going to help the content creator? Me, for example. Okay. And that's great because people have watched this thing, everybody's using Sqale, great. Well, there you go, job done. But if, for example, I was, we're wanting to make trees. I'm doing this thing with a friend of mine, Wendy, and we want to try and generate money to grow more trees. So we definitely need that 1 million. But the trouble is it's now distributed to 1 million people with £1. So what you can do, it looks like this, but it's not this, is that at the end of this thing, 1 million people £1, you can switch off the share function. So effectively, when a person gets it, they go, oh, this is pretty good. Wow, okay, I'm going to share this. Oh, I can't. Oh, all I can do is support. Okay, I'll support. So instead of putting it forward, you get the £1 that was given to you, right? You don't have to add anything. You give that £1 back to the content creator. In this case, it would be me. And then I end up with 1 million. If everybody does that, I end up with 1 million. Okay, what do I do with 1 million? I don't know. Come up with something else and then share it forwards. Okay. What I would do is I would see who amongst us watching this live now at this moment is really onto this, gives it a value of 10 or high value or something, and they've got an idea about moving things forwards, or they want to produce a better video, a better video than this. They want to actually perform something. They want to produce, an animation. They want to, or do something useful. They actually want to help people. They actually want to save people. They actually want to employ some of the other techniques to do with education, or they want to help the techniques that I've described in these other systems to do with helping people come together to do, to work together to help children. All right, or whatever, all right, and I said, oh, okay, right, here's some money, all right, and I will support those, and you'll be able to see if I do that because we were living in a transparent system. That's what this is, it's a transparent system. But if I start distributing it to other things other than this, I'm redirecting the money away from your attention, okay, and so I think what I should be doing is redirecting it towards where you think it should be going. And the reason why you're taking part in this is because you're interested in Sqale itself. So I think that the money that we generate through you sharing, I think we should, and we sharing, I've shared, I was the first person to share with money, I'm out of pocket. And then when the money flows, it's like, okay, this person deserves, they might get in contact with me or other people, and they start to manifest something, they share something with me, and I go, oh, that's really amazing. And so I'm going to then support that, and I'll give that forward, and I might give it forwards to people that have demonstrated that they've actually shared it with 5 people, and you're like, wow, that person really likes it and actually put a lot of money in, and they've given it high value. Who are they? And so this person produces something, and shares it with me, and then I give it to them, and I give them, I don't know, 100 quid. I give them £1,000. Why? Because they know people, they want to distribute this thing, and they deserve more money because they allowed more people to join. You know, because of them, it's like half of the people, 500,000 people are that person. All right? Ooh, right, okay. And so there's lots of interesting things. This is basically your externalized marketing department, but it's all mixed up. It's not a separate thing like here, departments and hierarchies and everything else. No. You like this, you go, oh, I think this is valuable, I'll share it forwards. And in that act of sharing forwards, you're demonstrating something and you're acting, and so therefore you deserve more recognition, more money, and so on and so forth. So, and whether, if this was a piece of music, okay, and you know, we were talking about a band. Band's up there. I thought it was down here. Okay, right, a band coming together, and they've distributed, and they're just this one track, and the money comes back to the band, okay, and then basically they work together. They might have to hire a place, in our current economy, they have to flip out and hire a place and, you know, create the music and buy bananas and everything else while they're making their music. And eventually they make their album and they chuck it out with 10 quid. And they go, ooh, who are the people that we're going to share 10 quid? Well, that person, I think we should give 100, all right, because I think they're really keen. And the people who think it's 10, we'll give them like, you know, 40 quid or something. But most people will just give a few people 10 or something. I don't know. And then they share it forward. And then more money comes. And it's like, oh my God, I've got too much money. So if things work, if things are of value, and we literally just share things that we think are valuable, okay, the money, because it's a vector, there's no opposition, there's no negative, there's no money being spent on adverts, there's no money going to owners. It's all just creators creating things, thinking it's valuable, sharing it with people that think it's valuable, who share it forwards, who then crowdfund. It doesn't go back, it crowdfunds the next step. So that is an illusion. So we should put in like, the money isn't going back, the money is going forwards. Okay, it's like this. They're funding, it's crowdfunding. So this distribution is literally crowdfunding for the next thing. People might think that they're, oh, I'll support for what I received. That's a legacy of this system, because it's something about money going backwards. Okay, money does not go backwards. Even in this economy, money does not go backwards. We think it's going backwards because of the exchange, but actually, it's in time. That person's giving that person the money. That person's giving that. Oh no, that's the thing. The thing is going this way. That's the thing going that way, and the money down there is going that way. Okay, and it's going forwards in time. Okay, time going upwards. Okay, just to confuse this, all right? It's going forwards in time. Okay, so for example, if I, you know, as I said to the chip shop, you know, I give money to the chip shop person, they get the, you know, the money literally in their cashier. It doesn't go backwards in time, miraculously in time. It's not a time machine. It's just, well, it is, but it's the future, a time machine, as it were. And it stays in the cashiers, and then at some point or other, later on in the week, maybe they get paid. They might get paid in cash, you know, to get rid of the cash, they've got too much cash, or it might go to the bank, and then the bank then gives it to somebody else through the cash machine. Okay, but let's go for the simple version, that the actual money goes, at the end of the week, pays it out to a few people, and the person who actually literally gave me the chips ends up with some of that money. Fantastic. Or the owner goes home, cashes puts the money in their pockets, goes home, and then, you know, somebody's visiting their home to teach their kid trombone lessons, and and they give the tenner that I'd given them to the trombone teacher, and then the trombone teacher takes it, slips it in their pocket, goes off, goes to the shop and buys, you know, some sweeties, gives them the tenner, and then the same happens in that shop, and it moves around. Okay, and it goes forwards in time. So in effect, when I gave them my tenner for the chips, I didn't. I gave them the money so that the guy could pay for trombone lessons. Okay, so literally what happens with money in our current system, as with this system, all right, is that the money, my £10, goes for the chips. Chips are going backwards towards me, but actually the £10 goes forwards, and then the £10 goes forwards for trombone lessons. Okay, but the money's going forwards. Okay, it's always going forwards. Okay, that is the direction of money, as pointed out by Knight. It's the, what was the phrase you had? The future-orientated. It's not future-orientated. They don't use future-orientated a lot. Forward-looking character. That's even better. That's even better. Forward-looking character. That's what a vector is. It's an intentionality. Okay, it's an intentionality. The guy said it, 1927, 29. Right, this is beautiful. We love this. It's fantastic. Going forwards. Everything's going forwards. Everything's going forwards. It's crowdfunding. Crowdfunding is literally, so it's not that, it's actually going that way. Okay, so it's crowd funding. Okay, and that is built in from vector money. So instead of trying to simulate our economy, which way's the money, which way's the things, oh, we've got to keep, forget all that. Forget all that. Just get forwards. So that's all you have to do. That's all we have to do. And it will move. And the people that find it valuable, you, will hopefully share it forwards. And if you do, more people like you, well, you've received this. You received this because somebody has given this to you. You know, they've trusted you. They're part of this system. It's only if you go zero, no, nil, that you should, you know, that definitely people leave you alone. The person that gave it to you, you're wrong. You wouldn't be this far into this video if you thought this was zero, all right? If you think it's 1 to 4, okay. But share it forwards, please, because then somebody else might think it's more valuable, all right? And so you allow the thing to flow. And at some point, somebody's going to give you something that you actually think is valuable, okay? And they might think it's 1 to 4, but they thought, well, you're going to like it, so that's why they've given you this, okay? Even though they might not have thought it was good, they thought you would, and you do, because you're this far in. All right, great. Right, that's it. That's good enough for me. Now that's really good in terms of the distribution. It doesn't quite hit that thing to do with projects and future objectives. I think I might leave that for another time because we have, whoa, we're into the time, way beyond the time. So I think we'll leave this for another video. That's almost like the other half because this is the action. This is the second social fact to do with organic sharing. This one is to do with the first social fact, to do with the valuation. Okay, it's to do with our own psychology and our evaluation of our own things and feelings and thoughts and intentionalities and so on and so forth. But this actually involves the action, so we're using different numbers. This one happens to apply, and it corresponds quite strongly with money. This one we did a new thing, and it's to do with thanks or liking or disliking. Okay. So it's important that you do like or dislike this and so on and so forth because then you'll be able to see, and we'll be able to do more calculations based on this. And we might be able to even, at some point, as mentioned, phase away from this. At some point, once we've got enough equal distribution of money, credits, then we won't have to do this. Okay, we'll have more efficient ways for resource allocation. Okay, and we might have things like broadcasts and all this kind of stuff, and that's fine. But it'll be done in a slightly more sensitive way than is currently operational, okay, in our current global economy. So, right, let's just quickly summarize. Let's see, or summarize, I don't know. It's not structured like that. These are just different collections of thoughts stuck in different kind of like piles, as it were. Any questions about this, please do ask. Is there anything that I could think of? Not right now. Let's go through that and see if anything that says there that we haven't dealt with. Number one. Not number one, there's no number one. I don't like using number one as target, right? That's a tag. Organic sharing, pay it forwards. Pay it forwards. Yes, you add and pay it forwards. Don't go back. There's nothing ever going back. If you want to support, that's fine. But we need to get more distribution. Everybody that creates anything needs distribution. Let's not rely on adverts and all that kind of rubbish, all right? Let's just take our responsibility and pull it forwards. I don't think it talks about that, pulling it forwards, right? Organic sharing, pay it forwards, a multi-dimensional pay it forwards with absolutely anything digital. Vector money, we've covered that. Gratitude tracking, SQ algorithm, weighted democracy, that's eventually what it comes to. What are you voting for? What are you aiming for? What's your intentionality? A new gift sharing alternative economic. Yes, as far as I can tell. And you've got it, so use it. It's a tool, it's functional, it works. Give it a go. Pay it forwards, gift it forwards too. Gift it forwards too. I like that. That was one of my original terms. G-I-F-T. I've got a book, it's called Gift. It's just fiction, but it embeds actually MTTP. It doesn't actually talk about this kind of stuff because I hadn't invented it at that point. That actually talks about MTTP, Maritime Trust Protocol, and it kind of describes some of the experiences I had trying to go into companies, not trying, going into companies to speak to them and doing this new financial contract. And in that contract, embedded is this. Okay, it wasn't obvious to me that this was in it. The vector money. That's how this works. Vector money. It's only when I worked out vector money that I managed to work out these other social contracts. Gift, give it forwards to. Give it forwards together. Give it. I like it. But right, moving on. Social accountability, social contract. Social accountability is to do the gratitude tracking, the making sure that we're tracking each other as we go along. And I cover, actually, I've recorded it, and you can actually see it in another video, okay? But it's what should happen next, actually. It goes into detail about value. So when we're sharing this, we give values to things. So when we say, oh, that's pretty good, V is equal to 5. That's brilliant, V is equal to 10. Oh, that's pretty good, V is equal to 8. 0 to 10, so value. Okay, and I deal with that in another topic, so value, and I think I might have to do this one, maybe not, we'll see. And if you check this out, people who don't share, there's a kind of social responsibility there, and if things work out, there's a social accountability, which we can, social pressure, which we can manifest potentially, usefully, hopefully. And we have to be careful that this doesn't get out of hand. Yeah, we have to be responsible about how we're doing this. 3,000 years of disruption at your fingertips, literally in your hands, just sharing that thing the person gave to you, the fact you accepted. That's it. You are participating in a thing which is 3,000 years of disruption. What's up ahead? Well, I hope lots of good things. I would put global unity up ahead, but deal with another one of the systems to be able to talk about that. Money is hacked. Yes, we're hacking money. We've changed it from money as a thing, as an exchange, as money as a vector. Yep, that's a hack. It's like a computer hack. It's like a tech hack of money itself, and our psychology and our relationships. So it's definitely a different thing. Money becomes more like a vote, hopefully at some point. Money is revealed to be a future-oriented vector. Yep, money itself is a future-oriented vector. I've covered that. Wow. Enabled a sharing economy or gift economic. Yep. Value tracking, reflexive, collective values. Yeah. Once we do these kind of values, that's for things. If we start doing it amongst ourselves, it becomes like a network, and it's just a different thing. It's a reflexive. So the algorithm for social quotient is a reflexive one. Relative value algorithm. It doesn't have any words, and there's no bias to it. It's very clean, almost like average, like mean, mode, median, and SQ. Relative value algorithm to average relationships between people with no words involved. So it's pure maths. And I added this one today, front wheel drive, because I remember I had that from a while ago. Front wheel drive as opposed to rear wheel drive. This is rear wheel drive. It's kind of exciting in a certain way, but didn't quite have enough pull. Whereas this has the money right in the front. Have a look at this. Here's the money. Front wheel drive. It pulls. Fantastic. It's like having a horse in front of the cart. Who would have thought? The horse in front of the cart. The thing that actually moves. The money in front. That's nice. Whereas what we've been used to is basically pushing this thing. All right? We're still behind the car. This economy here, we're pushing. We're selling. We're pushing. And that's why it's a major labour and turns into mules. Whereas, horse before the car. Okay, so each of us does a little bit of pulling as we go forward. Anything that you get that you think is valuable, if you accept it, you're accepting a bit of a different social contract, which is, I will genuinely look at this, I will value it, and I will move it forwards if I think it's worthy. Okay, and it's quite fair. Okay, beautiful. Right. I'm a little bit tired, a little spoke out. It's the first time I've talked about Sqale in this kind of soft, general way, and it is, I feel okay. I think I'm going to come up with something a bit tighter at some point, but I think it's pretty good. I hope that you have enjoyed the ride. I hope this has made some sense to you. I hope that this gives you a little bit more trust and faith that actually there is a mathematical basis to this, and why it doesn't quite conform to anything else that anybody's talking about or even that anybody's doing. And enjoy that this is a thing which is different, and you're doing it, okay? And it's only by doing these different things. Maybe look at the other systems. If you're still a bit worried about the psychology and everything else, the social things, look at these other systems. Do not accept, okay, here we go, here's the thing. Do not accept this technique, okay, anywhere else, because it will probably just be using this bit and not the SQ and the relative value tracking. And if they miss out bits, it means that the whole system won't evolve. And just like blockchain, it just gets absorbed by current politics. Even though it's an alternative economic, it'll get absorbed in the current way that we do things. And we won't be able to escape from the organizations and structures which are basically built on this platform, this current economic platform, the traditional one. And so this is it. You have to make the decision. Okay? We have to make the decision. Whenever you get shared with anything, and that's maybe why you're looking at this video, you've received something, somebody said, no, have a look at this. There's actually like a basis to this. There's a moral basis to this. And so, oh no, but I'm going to be using Facebook. Facebook, as soon as they see us, okay, see this method, they'll go, oh, okay, maybe we'll give it a go. And they'll test it. Now, if we're successful and we can hit 1 million people, then it'll be known, then they'll have to look at it. And then they'll go, oh, this is interesting. And then they can copy it. But they might only copy this bit. And if they only copy a little bit, it's a bit like what happened with that guy, it's called a Ponzi scheme, all right? He revealed this method of being able to do things, Mr. Ponzi, in the 1920s or something, in New York or something, in America. And he developed this system, and it was naked, and it was kind of like this, but the money was going this way. Okay, money was going this way, not that way. Okay, our money's going out way. It's like, wow, this doesn't make any economic sense whatsoever. Well, it does, all right? But you have to look at the whole system, all right, for it to work. Whereas they were just looking at ways of making money. And in fact, it's a naked form of this. Okay? It's basically exploiting the fact that money's going forwards, and that's it. Right. But the forwards is actually backwards to the people who created the Ponzi scheme. So, do you see, anything that is created gets absorbed in some form or other or misused? And so I've been quite conscientious about making sure this all fits together. So if at any point in the future any system like this pops up, somebody please share this about and let's get our act together, because we need to have something to do with our deeper values. Okay, engage in this. If we don't, it's just a funny game. Okay, it might be a good game, better game than that one, the traditional system, but we need something better. So so check out the other systems that we're talking about. Think about education, think about spiritual religion, the system change there. And this has just been the economic one. Look at the fiction one, how we change fiction or upgrade fiction so that actually it's more conducive for not just us as consumers, but as producers and as active agents in the world. And the educational stuff, the ABC, state and education, action cycles in business, academia. So whatever your area that you're playing around with, that you're experiencing, check out these other ones in order to just go, okay, there are supporting systems that enable, it's not just a funny little economic thing, okay, we're talking about massive social change. So 3,000 disruption, it's not disruption, we're creating something, we're constructing something, we're not quite constructing. That's solid, it's more fluid, we're flowing, social fabric is tightening, strengthened, I think, through this process, and the flow of our trust and engagement and faith in each other is strengthened, and so we socially move more fluidly because of our trust relationships, genuine, authentic relationships. So, but that's the maths, a bit of the maths. Okay, can't think of anything else, and since you can't put my hand, thank you. I mean, genuinely thank you, and thank all the people that have shared this with you up to this point, and thank you for paying attention. And if you think it's valuable enough, please share it forwards with other people, and any thoughts that have occurred to you, make a note of them, act on them, bring in what you do know in this direction, not that direction, because the stuff you know might be related to that one. And it's either to go, oh, I've got a counter to it, or I've got an alternative to it. Oh, look, happens to fit this alternative economic that we've got. So, thank you very much.